Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, brought to you by Arrowhead Mountain Spring Water. Chris McGee, Derek Fisher, Big Game James, Brez. We got Mike Trudell out in Memphis. The Lakers, just 48 hours after one of the most improbable losses this year in the NBA, bounce back in a big way, show some mental toughness, get a huge win on the road against Memphis. The defense tightened up in that fourth quarter. They hit some clutch shots, led by Austin Reeves, who was over 30 for the fourth time this month. And most importantly, Fish, I'll start with you. They pick up a game on Memphis, who they were neck and neck with coming in for the playoff standings.
Yeah, this was like making a smart investment, you know, just putting some money in the bank and allowing it to grow over time. I think the Lakers, you know, we're watching the standings. Things could obviously change a lot, but the tiebreakers and the scenarios that it looks like the Western Conference is going to come down to in terms of positioning, this is probably going to help keep the Lakers above that 6 line when it all comes down with it.
Yeah, they own the tiebreaker over Memphis, James, and they have a full game lead with 8 to go.
Yes, understanding where they are and the resilience in this game to come back after that, you know, emotional loss. They really showed that they're a team and they're connected. And so, yeah, winning this game, keeping their position in the West where the seeds are, you know, I think they can win on the road. I agree with Fish. They probably are a better home team to get the crowd into it and stuff like that. So it's important. And, you know, they did a good job of securing that tonight in Memphis. Brad.
Yeah, lots of credit. I mean, this team could claim fatigue if they wanted to. You know, it's their 18th game in the last 33 days. That's an unbelievable pace. Haven't seen that around here in decades almost. And yet here they are tonight against the fastest paced team in the league. And the Lakers' big three showed up, 85 points between the three of them. And the Laker bench did much better than the top bench in the league. Really impressed by Gabe Vincent off the bench. Dorian Finney-Smith hit a few clutch threes. Really a team effort all the way around, Geet. And they don't look tired at all. I mean, you know, they could have really folded after the tough game the other night and said, let's just get home. They didn't do that at all.
Yeah, and the Lakers continue a great run against Western Conference teams, which is also important when you're looking at those tiebreakers. Let's go back to Memphis. Austin Reeves with Mike Trudell.
Austin, JJ used the word devastation to describe the way that you lost the last game, but what did it take to bounce back like this against a team that was desperate to try and get a victory?
Yeah, I mean, it just shows what, you know, we have in the locker room, from coaches to, you know, to players. We knew coming in tonight, we were tied for the 4th spot, I believe. And, you know, Brian said it before the game, we're going to play this as a must win. You know, they're a team that, you know, just fired their head coach, so we knew they was going to come out with a lot of energy, a lot of effort, you know, to try to, you know, I don't want to say turn things around. They're tied for 4th in the West, which is crazy. So, you know, it's a really good team that's had success in the past year, so it's a good win.
You know, going back to that first-round series a couple years ago, maybe when you really earned the trust of your teammates, and certainly LeBron James, it had already been there to an extent. But what is that kind of fast forward to today and all the trust that all of your teammates and coaches have for you to come through in moments like this in crunch time?
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot to me because, you know, me, Brian, and Luka and JJ met this morning, and those are two. I mean, obviously Brian's someone that I grew up watching, and then when Luka came in the league, he was one of my favorite players to watch. And for them to trust me in big situations is you know, it builds my confidence a lot. You know, I probably know over, you know, 100 people in here tonight from Arkansas. So just to, you know, come out here and play free and have fun is a lot of fun for me.
All right, Arkansas, just a very short drive across the border. You mentioned that trust in the teammates. You know, you had the counting stats, almost a 30-point triple-double, but Stu on the broadcast was talking about the fronting of Jaren Jackson, just kind of key plays like that, and just doing a little bit of everything to try and make sure the team gets a win.
Yeah, I mean, it's that time of the year where you gotta you know, buckle up and do whatever you can do to help your team win, and that's what I try to do every single night. Some nights I probably lack a little bit of it, but, you know, I constantly try to remind myself and to go out there and play the game I love the right way.
All right, go say hi to the family. You mentioned you got a lot of people in the building. We'll let you go shake some hands, all right?
For sure. Good to see you.
Austin Reeves, his last 2 games, 30 against the Bulls, 31 on Saturday night. In the month of March, he's averaging just around 24 points per game. Tonight, he was absolutely fantastic. He was 11 for 11 from the free throw line. He was clutch in that game. They put the ball in his hands. Really impressive Fish as AR makes those plays down the stretch. A steal, the big and one, the rebound, all the little things.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's really impressive about Austin's game. Like, he's statistically, I thought the 31 points was quiet, to be honest. And it's because he was willing to fight, you know, on defense, defensive glass, you know, making great passes like we saw just on that clip. And so it's like, because he's playing the full game, you're not just watching it saying, oh, man, he's scoring a lot.
Yeah.
You're really watching someone fully invested in trying to impact winning. And then the stat sheet shows how impactful he actually was. And it's always great to see someone get rewarded for the type of work that he does.
Yeah, Fish was right on it. And as he was saying that big game, you look down there and you see 31 points on 16 shots. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's impressive. And then, you know, what he's able to do from the free throw line, 10 of 10. But the thing that really impresses me is he has a nose for the game. Like Fish mentioned, those 3 offensive rebounds, they were critical. All 3 of them that he got were really critical and they needed. And he just has a nose for the basketball and just a solid, you know, mind for the game. You know, he really puts in the work. And when he's on the floor, he's not just playing. He's thinking about, you know, what's best, what angle I can get, what mismatch can I, you know, create. And, you know, his ability to just hit shots when we need them and get offensive rebounds and make assists. He's an incredible player. I mean, we talk a lot about LeBron and Luka, but he's right there. I trust any of those guys with the ball in hand down the stretch, Brez.
Yeah, only guy with more offensive rebounds than AR tonight, Zach Edey. So, I mean, what does that tell you? I mean, he's hustling in there, using his height to his advantage, whatever height he has against a guy like, you know, Scottie Pippen Jr. or John Morant. Really impressed by what he's done. Guys, this win's important for a few reasons. Like, I just think, D-Fish, you already hit a win like this, maybe salt away another win or two just to be certain. And you're taking a whole week off between games. Their last game will be Sunday, and they'll probably go back to work the following Sunday if they get to avoid the play-in tournament. And what team doesn't want rest more than the Lakers? You got the oldest player in the league, functioning like he's 10 years younger than he is, but still, you accept the rest. Big win today. A, you take over 4th, and B, get that much farther away from that play-in contest.
Brez, I think you mentioned this already. 85 points from the big 3, 24 of 26 from the free throw line. All 3 guys, LeBron, Luka, and AR, 25 points or more. Lakers as a team, 30 assists. Lakers as a team, 19 threes, 44%, 6 different guys in double figures. Gabe was huge in that first half. Defense tightens up in the fourth. What kind of, out of that group, just sticks out for you the most, Fish?
Well, I think it shows an ability to win in different ways. Like, I don't think the team wants to play at a pace consistently where it takes 134 points to win a big game. But the fact that they are capable of doing, I think 6 guys in double figures. That's, when you think about the last few years, at times, that's what's been the roadblock in a sense, right? There was so much pressure on LeBron and AD to carry everything. Okay, Austin Reeves, you're going to get some timely games from AR, but what happens if Austin doesn't have a great game? Who is that 4th or 5th guy that's capable of jumping out and giving you 15 when you need it? D'Lo had flashes of it. But in a game like tonight, when you see Gabe Vincent again having a good shooting
when
night.
They needed it in the first half.
Dorian Finney-Smith hit some important threes in that second half. We talk about Rui all the time in terms of his ability. We saw in the Pacers game. He made some big threes late in that game. So these type of games start to allow you to, like, guys can get reps and build confidence in being important players, and that's what the Lakers will need in the postseason.
No question they're going to need it, and I think a good collective effort will, you know, yield some good, you know, play for them if they continue, if they stay healthy, you know, and continue to, you know, play the way they're playing, particularly the bench. I thought the 11 points from Dodo, like Fish said, that was big to go along with Gabe's 15. So when you're getting that kind of production from the bench, and they knocked down the threes tonight, Geeter. You know, they shot a good
44%.
clip from three, so the ball was moving. I think when they get this number of assists, the ball is moving, everyone's touching, and I think that's a good thing. You got a lot of baseline cuts, a lot of layups, the secondary pass from LeBron. So, yeah, I like the collective effort, but it all started with the defense.
Remember when threes were just not part of the Lakers' orientation? I mean, for the last decade, they've been, shooting poorly. Last year, they finally got better at shooting threes, but they didn't shoot a lot of them. They were bottom 5 in threes attempted last season. How much has that changed? Just with the acquisition of Luka and Dorian Finney-Smith. I mean, just amazing the work they've done to really, I hate to say this, but catch up to the rest of the NBA. That's what everyone does, shoot threes. Look at the two teams in the finals last year, Dallas and Boston. They led the league in threes. So, I mean, now the Lakers are like, all right, we can do that too. And they did it against, again, a team that loves to push the pace, and the Lakers didn't care. They out-grizzed the Grizz.
All right, let's hear from J.J. Redick. He's speaking with Mike in the media.
You knew Memphis was really going to play, the extra playoff level of intensity. They battled back a couple times. What did you think was the thing that finally kind of held them off in that fourth quarter when you guys were able to get the victory?
I thought our poise when we got down 4. I thought our poise when it was tied at 113. Our execution. I said to the guys in the timeout, we were getting great shots. Like our execution in that fourth quarter, I think Rui or Doe had a couple. We got great looks. We punished their overhelps, and they didn't go in. And they were tough to guard tonight. They outperformed some things that we're willing to live with. They were 20 for 38 on non-rim twos, which 38 non-rim twos. That's a pretty good sort of math equation to have. They made some tough shots. And then for us to just continue to trust what we were doing offensively, we had one bad possession in the fourth quarter outside of like a couple turnovers. Just like from an execution standpoint, we got exactly what we were trying to get.
In the walk-off, Austin said that you met with you and Luka and LeBron this morning, and just kind of how much he appreciates the players that they are, and then being included in that. What did you think of his play on both ends of the court tonight?
And pace off the ball, and I thought that was great early, and we were able to generate some good stuff, and then we challenged all three of them when we get to their 3-man actions to play with a little more force and a little more thrust and a little more creativity. We were able to get some great stuff in the fourth quarter off that and create the sort of advantages that, we envision creating when we put those 3 guys together. And I told them this morning, it's hard to create advantages against switches. And generally they're going to have 3 defenders that can all switch. But, there was a defender that we felt like didn't necessarily want to switch, and when we put those 3 guys in action in that fourth quarter, it was awesome. And just in terms of Austin being included, of course he's been included. I mean, I think the biggest thing about our group is the response to the other night when we lose on a half-court buzzer beater. And I said before the game that we'll be ready to play, that our resolve, I'm not surprised at how hard we played and how well we played tonight. I made sure the group knew that I believed still, and that the coaching staff believed, and they were resolute in their belief in this team. All 3 of those guys, and then everybody else.
JJ, excuse me, there weren't a lot of stops necessarily over stretches, but it never really felt like you guys weren't in it defensively, if that makes sense. And especially in the fourth, I think there was a stretch where Dorian got a rebound over Edie, had a challenge on Jaren Jackson, Luka took the lane away from Desmond Bane. What did you think about you guys have been a team that's guarded despite results for a lot of the year, but that's kind of faded a little bit. What did you think about your team's intent defensively?
Yeah, I think process-wise, it was really good. Where we, I don't know what they ended up with, 22. I mean, where we struggled a little bit was in transition. 22 is not a crazy number, but I thought our half-court defense and our half-court defensive execution was really good. We gave up, I think, 1 back cut out of the corner out of their wheel concept. We gave up 1-3 to Ja Morant out of the wheel concept in the first half from the left corner in front of their bench. You know, I'm not sure we gave up much else just in terms of letting the ball get middle. We did a good job of keeping the ball out of the middle, and then they made a few shots where we didn't allow to get middle, and they kind of were at that free throw line area and made some shots. I thought, you know, Jackson Jr. hit some tough ones. You know, in terms of our execution, you can execute a defensive game plan, and teams can still make shots. I liked what we did defensively with our half-court defense.
JJ, I know you just mentioned the fourth quarter execution, but offensively tonight, I mean, 50, 40, 90 performance. The big three all go for 25 plus, 8 plus assists, several role players in double figures. Did it feel like this is like maybe the closest you guys have been to your offensive ceiling as a group since, you know, these three have been playing together?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think there's always stuff you can improve on, and you don't want to say like, that's the best we can play offensively. We played as well as we played so far offensively, and you know, a big part of that I thought was not just those three guys, but Doe, Rui, Gabe, their shot making, particularly at times when we played a 5-laser lineup, and just, you know, Doe missed a couple. Told him to keep shooting, and he made a couple, and I thought that was great. Rui had the big one in the corner over there opposite their bench, and then Vando, you know, because of their overhelps, like, he was able to operate a little bit in that first half, which was great offensively. Like, I think it was a good game for us, because we didn't just see one thing either. They played a small lineup with switching. They played Edie in a heavy drop. They did a bunch of different. They played Jaren Jackson Jr. at the 5. Like, they did a bunch of stuff, and we were able to channel change when they channel changed.
Nice.
Gabe Vincent hit 4 threes for 15 points. He's speaking with Mike in the media.
Gabe, what did you make of just the
Emotional response, or not that you had emotion, but just from a loss like that at the buzzer to have a day kind of recoup and come out against a team that, you know, clearly desperate for a win after firing their coach?
I mean, I feel like we were desperate for a win, so I didn't really give a damn about how they were. As far as the buzzer goes, I mean, we just won the night before. Sometimes you lose them how you win them. You got to just charge that to the game. It's a lot of games in this season, so you know, we just had to come out with the right mentality. We knew we needed a win. We tried to close out this road trip the right way. We're playing for something bigger. We just try to get ourselves back on track.
You got hot early. Just wondering, was there anything consistent about how you were getting those looks, like who was finding you and what spots you were trying to find?
No, I think I was just being aggressive early. I think I got to the rim early. That always helps. And, you know, we were moving the ball well in that first half, and it found me. And I was, you know, being a shot aggressive, and I made some shots. It was helpful.
Gabe, you mentioned kind of your team's desperation. It felt like maybe for the first time since you had all your guys back, you were able to put together kind of that 48 minutes of consistent sort of focus and intent. What did you kind of make of that tonight in terms of like a big game and being able to perform pretty consistently through all 4 quarters?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it was perfect by any means, but we showed a good level of grit, especially down the stretch. You know, our third quarters historically haven't been the best, and this game it wasn't great either, but we found a way to rally within it and salvage it, and then we closed it in the fourth.
It's obviously when you have 3 really dynamic on-the-ball players like you guys do in Austin, Luka, and LeBron, like there's going to be kinks to work out in terms of how that's going to go. But what did you make of kind of the way those 3 were able to play with and off of one another tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've done a really good job, you know, figuring it out. Obviously, it's a little more of a sample size now, but it's quick coming from the trade deadline, and you know, 3 guys that can dominate the ball and score at a very high level and play make at a very high level. They've done a really good job of playing off one another as well, whether one of them are screeners or one of the ones spacing. 2's on the floor, all 3 on the floor. You know, they've done a really good job of, you know, keeping winning the most important thing and finding ways to be effective.
Gabe, you guys have, this was a big game in terms of the standings. Are you guys keeping an eye on that, or is the focus mostly on just hitting your peak level of play as we get closer to the playoffs?
I mean, maybe at the beginning of the trip we had our eye on it, but, you know, we got to stay focused one game at a time right now.
Gaucho Gabe, guys, this is a nice showing. 23 minutes, 15 points, 5 of 7 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3, 2 rebounds. He's always had that toughness. Been to the finals before. He's a pro's pro, and came up big time, especially in that first half, James, I feel like, just to kind of, you always need to, everyone's talking about the Memphis bench and the high-scoring bench, and then he comes out and gets 15 on his own. Impressive.
We've always known that Gabe was solid, when he came here from Miami. Unfortunately, gone through a couple of coaches, some injuries, but quality minutes and a healthy body, he shows you, that he's solid. He probably could start for some teams if he had to, but realizing that reputation, and he gave us a big lift tonight off the bench.
Gabe has seen everything.
Yeah.
So even in his answer, during the post-game, press, he's seen it all, the highs and the lows of being in this league. He had to fight just for an opportunity to play in the league. So he's not going to be up and down and volatile in his energy and how he approaches things, when things aren't going as well. To me, Gabe's play is just a continuation of being healthy, getting healthier, coming off of being injured the first year he was here in L.A. And, you're just seeing why the team prioritized him in free agency that year.
Yeah, I think you bring up such a great point that many people might not realize, like what it took for Gabe to get in this league, to stay in this league, to earn that contract that he got, to show out like he did in the playoffs, and then to come here and get hurt, and the mental toll that takes on a person. He's one that's got to live with it every day, and he just stayed true to it and went through, like Derek said, the ups and the downs. You got to appreciate it.
Yeah, he signed a 3-year deal, and more than anyone, he was disappointed that he could not deliver on year one last year. He's a guy who said, okay, going back to L.A., went to school out there. Very cool. It just didn't happen for him last year, and it didn't happen for him this year, too. Averaged 3.5 points in October, 2.5 in November, and then once December hit, he really started to hit his stride. He's had a great 3-4 months, really impressed by what he brings.
And it's different in the playoffs as the regular season. Playoffs, rotations tighten up. You're not going to get 45, 50 points from your bench usually, but you need winning plays, you need big-time shots, and you have to get some production when it comes down to the playoffs with those 4 guys or playing 3 guys to play.
Yeah, and more importantly down the stretch, what you need is some experience, some poise, somebody who's, maybe been there before and knows how to handle situations, someone who's not going to, panic, you could depend on. And Gabe is that guy. He's pretty smart, understands, the task before him, kind of understands situations throughout the game. So, yeah, it's good to have, a solid veteran who has some experience. I'm watching the Duke game. Anyway. But yeah, Gabe has been that guy. Like we all have said, healthy body, with quality minutes, he's going to perform.
You think about this Lakers lineup, you can't have Austin guarding the best perimeter player every night. Luka, LeBron,
can't give you the offense you need from him. Yeah.
Dorian Finney-Smith, yes, okay. But Gabe is a guy that even if he's not scoring the ball, he is going to be vital.
They still got that turkey burger at Carl's Jr.
They still don't sleep on him,
man. Yeah, they got a good one.
Reese averaged 26 points per game on the road trip. He's speaking in the locker room.
This game tonight, you guys came in tied for 4th in the Western Conference. Did it feel bigger because of that?
I don't want to say it felt bigger because of, we're tied for 4th, but I think this was a big game for us in the sense of, how we lost the other night. We hadn't been playing great. We got a good win in Indiana, but, lost in Orlando. So to go 1-3 on this trip instead of 2-2 would have been, frustrating. So coming into this game, it was obviously high intensity. It's hard, last game on a road trip because you're pretty excited to go home. But, for that 3 hours or whatever the game is, you got to lock in and try to, put your best foot forward, win.
Austin, the only game since the All-Star break that you've lost against a Western team is that game at Denver, which obviously went down to the wire. Is there anything to just how well you played against the West teams, and now down the stretch it's only West for the rest of the season?
I didn't even know that, to be honest. I had no idea. We gave ourselves a good opportunity to win that one in Denver too, shorthanded, but I didn't know that, so I don't really. I just feel like we've in spurts played really good basketball, and if we do that, we're going to be a tough team to beat.
Austin, even though they scored 127 points, like maybe minus the first 3 minutes of the second half, it felt like you guys were pretty engaged in what you were trying to do defensively. What do you make of sort of the consistent attention tonight on that level, and do you feel like that paid off late?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, what did they tie it? It was 113. That's a that's a point in the game where you got to buckle in and be, you want to be locked in every possession. Obviously, you're not going to play a perfect game, but late game, you had to be, really locked into what you're trying to do, and I felt like we did that tonight. Obviously, giving up, like you said, 127 is not, what we want to, not how many points we want to give up. So, obviously we can do better, but when we needed it, we got stops.
Austin, JJ was talking about the meeting this morning, the creativity with you three and not necessarily doing the same things, even if you're running the same actions or whatnot. How did you feel like that manifested tonight in terms of just the two-man game, especially with you and Luka down the stretch?
I think it was good. I mean, Brown and Luka are so good that they make my life easy. Unselfish players that like to play the game the right way. Unbelievable passers, both of them. So you try to just get the best outcome every single possession. If we do that, if we lock into doing that, I feel like we can get a good shot every possession. So just having that creativity in whatever we're running, and just trusting it and trusting, with the pass is a big thing. And I felt like we, did that well tonight.
Last question.
Quarter timeout where LeBron was particularly vocal about communication. He thought that it made a difference. He said maybe if he doesn't pep up the way he does, you guys don't win the game. Do you recall that? And how did the message help you guys in that moment?
It's the first time I've heard him yell in a while.
Is this new or old?
That one is
It was pretty. It was refreshing, to be honest. I loved it. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it just shows how much he cares. His attention to detail is probably the standard. If all of us can lock into that, every single possession, you can create something special.
Thank you.
Time now for Fish's Focus. Lakers guard John Durant. He returned to the lineup after missing 6 games in a couple of weeks with the hamstring. Got a new coach. Not sure you heard that, Derek. Talked about that a little bit pregame.
Yeah, I was
get on
waiting
up there
for you
to the.
I was waiting for you to say Derek's Focus.
Derek's Focus. I told you to get focused, and you did, Derek.
Oh, man. No, this is, we may see this matchup in a few weeks, guys. John Morant, right? Head of the snake. You see here, Lakers giving a lot of space and not allowing Ja to bring that force on his drives. This time he is able to break through, but you see Jackson Hayes comes over, hands up. Could have been a foul. He turned a little bit, but all good. Again, space, right? Now you have the switch. Same thing. Dalton spacing so that he can absorb the drive. LeBron coming over behind, and then look at all the bodies, making sure that Ja does not have straight line attacks to the rim, and then active hands and deflections on passes coming out to be disruptive to the Grizzlies offense. Again, Gabe providing space. Don't let him get by. Switch here again by Dalton. Spacing. Back up. LeBron all the way in. And then on the flight of the pass, closing out, forcing him to shoot a contested 3. Now you got a battle on the boards. And then Gabe, as you can see, backing up to absorb that force on the drive. And then now LeBron is going in. And then you can see Jordy getting ready to rotate, having 2-on-1 on the backside there. So you can see just John Morant, so good, so difficult to stop getting to the front of the rim. Tonight, great game plan discipline by backing up, keeping them in front, showing them a lot of bodies behind the ball, and then moving on the flight of the pass from there.
Great breakdown right there, Fish. JJ talked about kind of what you were just showing, that chess match that goes on, big game. What they're showing each other. This is a possible matchup just a few weeks away in the Western Conference playoffs, possibly first round.
Yeah, coach is taking a lot of notes, just about on every play, looking at all the different scenarios that could be possible if they run into the Lakers in the playoffs. So yeah, you want to send a message that you kind of know how to defend them. You want to send a message that you're going to compete. The Lakers have done that against Memphis. So yeah, you get a good temperature of who they are, and hopefully you can hang on to it just in case you meet them in the playoffs.
All right, more to come on Access after the break.
I'm going to go with the breakfast croissant sandwich.
Okay,
yeah, I'm going early morning.
Okay.
Don't fall asleep on that.
I don't even know you right now.
13 points in 28 minutes.
On that breakfast
The
croissant.
most Rui has played since returning from injuries in the locker room with Mike.
Rui, we spoke before the game on the for the Spectrum pregame show, and you were kind of on cue to how big the game was going to be, just with their intensity, what yours needed to be. How did you feel like that went once you got out there, and what do you think the difference was in the game?
Yeah, for sure. I think a couple of times we had a couple, 10 points lead, and they come back, and then we kind of get another 10 points lead, and they come back. It was like a back and forth, but yeah, they never gave up. And of course, I think our third quarter, that's the beginning. The third quarter was a little bit. We are kind of a little bit, didn't focus well, so we gave up easy, lay up in the threes and stuff. But yeah, I think overall, I think we did a great job, defensively. We got it well, and that's why we got this done.
They were pretty relentless attacking, and you knew that was going to happen with John, JJJ, and them trying to get a win. When you guys are also small, what are the challenges of the rim protection, rebounding?
Yeah, for sure. We talk about everybody got to go rebound, no leak out and everything. So I think we did a pretty good job. I think they got a couple offensive rebound, but we fought through, and we got this game. So that was good, yeah.
What do you think of the fact that LeBron, Luka, and Austin combined between points and assists for 120 of the 134 points that you guys had? Did you see them fitting together better in command?
Yeah, for sure. We of course building around those three guys, and they fit in. We talk about after the game too, like team win, and